Did retirement sneak up and steal your social circle? One day you're juggling meetings, office banter, and coffee breaks. The next, it's just you, your to do list, and a whole lot of quiet. If you've caught yourself wondering, where did all my friends go? You're definitely not alone. Retirement changes so much more than how you spend your time. It reshapes your identity and how you connect with others. Today, I want to challenge you to completely rethink how we view friendship in our 50s and 60s. Let's get into it. We've been taught to view our social lives on a horizontal timeline. Friendships that naturally form in school, solidify in our working years, and then somehow magically sustain us through retirement. Friendship doesn't work that way. It's not horizontal, it's vertical. I mean that each connection we make, each vulnerability we share, each moment of authentic presence with another person builds upward, creating a structure of belonging that supports us. This vertical model of friendship isn't about how many people you know or how long you've known them. It's about the depth and meaning of those connections. Here's the truth about my pre-retirement life. It was all over the place. Different jobs, different states, and a lot of fleeting friendships. Sure, I joined the occasional bowling league, played in a golf group, and even grabbed drinks after work now and then. But those connections didn't always run deep. They were fun in the moment, but when I moved on to the next job or the next state, those relationships didn't always follow. And now that I've retired in a new hometown, the few deeper friendships I held onto are scattered across a few different states. Visits and calls are great, but let's face it, they're not the same as having someone local to grab coffee with on a whim. Now here I am in retirement. No more office buzz, no more water cooler chats, and no more built-in social structure. My days are quieter and more reflective. And the people I used to see regularly, they're just not in my life anymore. What nobody tells you about retirement is that there's a genuine grieving process for your work relationships. It's not just missing people, it's mourning a part of your identity. Those first few months, I'd catch myself mentally sharing a story with a colleague who was no longer in my daily life. That phantom conversation feeling can be surprisingly painful. I'd compose texts to work friends that I'd never send, wondering if they remembered our inside jokes anymore. Let's talk about why building connections feels so different in our 60s. These aren't just challenges, they're transformations in how we experience relationship. Retirement abruptly ends those daily interactions that naturally created friendships. Without our career roles, many of us wonder, who am I now? But here's what I've realized. Workplace friendships were often horizontal, spread wide, but not always deep. Now we have the opportunity to build vertical connections from a more authentic place, unburdened by professional identities. Just when we have time to deepen our friendships, people scatter. They move closer to grandchildren, to warmer climates, or to more affordable areas. Each goodbye forces us to decide, will we let this connection fade, or will we find new ways to build it higher despite the distance? This is the hardest one to talk about. That loss hits us differently at our age. It's a reminder of our own mortality and leaves a gap no new friendship can fill in exactly the same way. But grief can be a powerful vertical builder of connection. Sharing my loss with others has created some of the most authentic moments of connection I've had in years. The thought of reaching out only to be turned down feels more devastating now than when we were younger. Rejection at this stage triggers deeper questions. Am I still interesting? Do I still matter? Is it too late for me? These aren't just social anxieties, they're existential ones. I've heard from so many viewers who say they'd rather stay home than risk that feeling of rejection. Meanwhile, making new friends takes emotional energy, something that might be in shorter supply after decades of nurturing relationships. Starting from scratch can feel exhausting when you've already invested so much of yourself in connections that have faded away. Yet paradoxically, these very limitations can clarify what truly matters. When both courage and energy are precious resources, we become more intentional about where we invest them, often creating deeper connections precisely because we can't afford to waste our hearts on superficial ties. Here's the truth we need to embrace. These are the good old days, right now. When we're 80, we'll look back at our 60s as a time of freedom and possibility. We need to stop viewing this stage as the waiting room before the end and start seeing it as potentially the richest time for friendship in our lives. Think about it. When else have you had this combination of wisdom, time, and freedom? You know yourself better than ever before. You've weathered enough storms to know what really matters. You are freed from the constraints of building a career or raising children. If not now, when will you build the connections that will sustain you through whatever comes next? Starting new friendships in our 60s requires a kind of courage we haven't needed since childhood. That first time I walked into the hiking group, my heart was pounding like I was a teenager again. Would they like me? Would I fit in? These feelings don't disappear with age. Sometimes they intensify because we have more at stake. I almost turned around in the parking lot that first day, but I forced myself to walk in. And by the end of that first hike, something had shifted. For 2 hours, I wasn't retired me or any label at all. I was just another person breathing hard up a mountain trail, sharing the simple victory of reaching the summit together. If you're struggling with friendship in retirement, focus on building vertical connections, relationships that may be fewer in number but richer in meaning. Start with structure and shared interests. Join activities with built-in regularity around passions you genuinely enjoy. My biking group meets every Tuesday, which means I don't have to overthink. I just show up. When you connect through interests, the friendship feels more authentic from the start. Be the initiator. I've learned that waiting for invitations leaves you waiting too long. That person you always chat with at the coffee shop, invite them for a proper coffee date. Small steps can transform acquaintances into friends. Lower expectations and be patient. Not every connection needs to become your best friend. Research shows it takes about 50 hours together to move from acquaintance to casual friend, and 200 hours or more to become close friends. The vertical building doesn't happen overnight. Volunteer. Nothing connects people like working towards a common cause. Many retirees find that volunteering creates bonds faster than any social event could. The shared sighs after completing a project, the knowing glances when something funny happens. These sensory experiences remind us we're part of something larger than ourselves. Embrace technology. Yes, even us older folks can use apps to find friends. Sites like meetup.org are another great resource. Technology isn't just for the young, it's a tool we can use to scaffold our connections. The first time someone from my book club called just to check in, not about the book, just about me, I felt a warmth that I hadn't experienced in a long time. It was that moment of recognition. Someone sees me, not just the retired version of me, but the whole person. There was a catch in my throat as I thanked her for calling, and in that tiny moment of vulnerability, our friendship deepened more than it had in months of book discussions. Those small moments of genuine connection make all the awkward introductions worth it. So I want to challenge you. What kind of connection structure are you building? Something meaningful or waiting for friendship to happen to you? The answer to this question might be the difference between a retirement of rich connection and one of quiet isolation. I'm building my structure of belonging in this new hometown, meeting people, trying new things, and letting the process unfold naturally. Some days it's terrifying. Some days it's exhilarating. And many days it's both. But I know that when I look back from my 80s, I won't regret a single coffee date or vulnerable conversation. I'll only regret the connections I was too afraid to try to make. Don't let another week pass saying, someday I'll join that group or someday I'll call that person. Someday is today. If you enjoyed this exploration of friendship in retirement, check out my Things I Don't Care About in Retirement video. It's all about the mindset shifts that transformed my happiness when I finally stopped caring about what no longer served me